Inspired by others, I have decided to make a video to explain what I mean by strategic superiority in Magic, as opposed to tactical superiority. The basic idea is that having a strategic advantage is usually better than having a tactical advantage, though this varies to a large degree. Some strategies barely have an advantage over others, and some tactics give you a huge advantage over some strategies. The first example that comes to mind is Dredge, which has a strategic advantage against almost every deck in the format, because of two reasons. 1. It ignores many conventional methods of resistance, such as counterspells, and 2. It is faster than most other strategies. When you board in crypts against Dredge, you gain a major tactical advantage, because you greatly inhibit, if not shut down, their strategy, but your strategy didn't change at all, or at least it probably didn't. This tends to be the case with most linear decks. They have inherent strategic advantages, but are more vulnerable to specific tactics, usually called hate. The problem with dealing with survival decks is that they aren't as linear as most combo decks, yet still have an extremely powerful combo. Blue-Green Madness is the most linear of these, being very reliant on its combo, as its creatures other than Vengevine are quite poor without it. More accurately, you could say that they wish they were Tarmogoyfs. Occasionally it can get lucky by drawing one or two wastelands or landing a stifle, but for the most part it relies on its combo to win, and has a very small suite of counter magic to ensure this. More generalized survival decks, such as White-Green Survival, are less linear. That's why they often lose the mirror, but are more adaptable, being much better at winning without survival than their blue counterparts. They have actual removal spells, and creatures that are good on their own, such as Knight of the Reliquary, in addition to Wasteland and cards like Mother of Runes. Black versions probably have the most flexibility. They have plenty of discard spells to deal with whatever hate may come their way, or which can strip their opponent of relevant cards if played properly, and win that way. They can also go for Necrotic Ooze, which gets around cards such as Peacekeeper. Black-white-green versions are probably the most flexible, though they can't play Wasteland, and they can potentially lack focus. In general, survival decks play out like inferior versions of other decks when they don't have their namesake card in play, or when they can't make use of it, though at that point, they are probably losing anyway. Worst of all is when having survival in play is simply irrelevant. Few decks are able to make this scenario realistic, but it certainly can happen. Storm and Dredge are obvious examples of decks that can largely ignore an active survival, or simply beat their opponents, before it becomes relevant. However, many people are averted from playing such decks, because they're either too hard to play, are too easy to hate out, or simply have a huge disadvantage against other strategies, such as Counterbalance, in the case of Storm. Storm, however, is quite a powerful option, as Counterbalance is at a low point in popularity, and most Merfolk decks aren't as well equipped as they used to be for the matchup. Another option is a Suicide Black deck, like Red Death or Eva Green, or a variant of Junk. Such decks are able to remove survival from the hand with discard, and/or render it impotent, while on the battlefield via mana denial. The versions with white can even remove survival with Vindicate. Enchantress could also be a fine option against survival. It's well able to stop Vengevine beats, can protect its key enchantments with cards like Sterling Grove and Karmic Justice, and defend from other assaults with Mode and Elephant Grass. Enchantress is vulnerable to Cross and Grip and such, but it is definitely capable of getting the job done. Tempo decks also seem to have a strategic advantage. Team America, for example, could very well make a comeback, as it's got both land disruption and discard, as well as counter magic and a small removal suite. It's even got massive finishers to clean up quickly, to minimize top decking. Of course, this is assuming survival doesn't get the axe on December 21st, but I felt it was worth explaining anyways.